Soapy. I'm Rebecca Budig.
And I'm Greg Rikaart. Rebecca, what do you want?
Greg, I want to wipe this floor with you.
Yeah, come and get it. But I'm not taking my shoes off.
Yeah, well, I'm not taking my earrings off.
And what we're doing right here, folks, is we are butchering the opening lines from the most infamous catfight in soap opera history. It's from NBC's Generations. It aired 35 years ago, and it was written by Michelle Valjean.
That's right. And veteran actor Jonelle Allen and Vivica A. Fox had that iconic catfight. It was so good. It was so good.
Yes.
It's one of the best catfights I think I've ever seen.
Oh, I think it's the best.
Yeah.
And Jonelle Allen is our guest today on Soapy. Jonelle Allen, welcome to Soapy.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You better keep your shoes on for this interview, okay? Don't hit any cameramen.
Oh, no, that's why I wore boots, because if I wore my shoes, then yes, you'd be like, there it is. There it is.
We're talking about, I'm starting with your cat fight, which we talked about in our intro on Generations.
Yes.
I hate to just dive right into it because you have such an interesting life.
We're going to cover so much ground.
Before Generations.
BG.
But we are Soapy.
Yes.
And in Generations was a soap.
Yes.
We watched this cat fight multiple times. And I have to say, I think it's one of the best I've ever seen because it looked authentic. It actually looked like Vivica had it looked like she had a black eye or something at the end of it.
Well, we won't talk about that.
But I know you rehearsed Vivica
I had to
Fox,
do an NDA on it. Just kidding.
No. But
it expired. You're going to talk about it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know it was well rehearsed. I've read about it. It was well rehearsed.
Yes.
But as I know as an actor, when you're in that moment and you have all those emotions and you're heated and you do it, a lot of things can happen and go wrong. I mean, you're over a table. I'm like, someone must have hurt themselves. Like, you guys were just...
Well, the thing is that the beauty about that kind of stuff is when you're a professional, you learn the choreography because it was at that time that on Dynasty, Joan Collins and Linda Evans, they did the cat fight, and Vivica and I were like, well, we want to do a cat fight, but because we're dancers, we want to have it choreographed so that you can push that camera in there and you can really see what's going on. So Michelle Valjean, who is now the
creator,
showrunner and producer of Beyond the Gates, wrote the cat fight. Generations was her first soap that she did. So she, wrote the cat fight, but then we came in and we worked with a choreographer to do each moment. And the beauty of it is that as professionals, we have to make it look like it's not professional. So everything was choreographed. Everything was right down to the moment. And so, no, if in fact one of us got hurt, then we weren't doing our job. Yeah. So no actors were hurt during the cat fight.
What was the choreography like, and how long did you work with the choreographer on that scene? And
we worked with him. He came in a couple of times, but Vivica and I, because I have theatrical background, we would go off and rehearse. I mean, we really, 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 really worked at it. And yeah, there were a couple of ad-libs that happened, and that was verbal ad-libs. Like at one point, I had talked to a wonderful costume designer, and I had like 2 or 3 costumes for that particular scene. And I was like, make sure that I have a detachable train. And so at one point, and I said to Vivica, pull the train, and so she did. But I had an ad lib for it. They didn't know. Michelle, now you know. It was my train.
I know, it's amazing.
Yes,
It's amazing.
that was my contribution to the moment. My train.
But also, did you kick your shoes off, or was that Vivica?
No, it was me. Of course I did.
I mean,
of course. Just before we started the fight, when we were going to, do it, I went off into the dressing room into my dressing room and said, well, what can I do? What can I do to, just walking in and I'm going to stand up. Follow me. And so, it's like, what can I do? I'm just not going to walk in there and say, bah, 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 bah. So instead, I said, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to kick off my other shoe, and then put that train. And so I practice. And so I just said to them, when we're about to do it, just take a little time with the camera, just a little more, whatever. And so, but in the heat of the moment, it's like, no, Vivica and I didn't get hurt, but the cameraman almost did. Because when I kicked off my shoes, I kicked, and it went all flying across the studio. And I could see the cameraman go like that.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, and then I couldn't, so you see a little bit of a fumble because I couldn't get it just right through there. But that was an ad lib as well.
Oh. I'm in awe of you right now. I like the energy that you have.
I mean, there's so much to cover, but I feel
the way you use
like
your body, it's just, it's incredible.
But let's back up just a hair to before the choreography of the scene. I read an interview where Vivica said
she lied. No.
Okay. Where she said she loved you. No, I read an interview where she said that when you first started working together, there was tension, and that the idea for that cat fight came from, was it a conversation in hair and makeup where a producer heard something heated between the two of you, and that's where that idea for that was born? What's your memory of that? The NDA expired, honey.
No. I mean, yes, I remember when, I guess it was like the 30th anniversary or whatever of the cat fight, and so I think it was soap opera.
Entertainment Weekly.
Entertainment Weekly wanted to talk to us, and so I was just like, yeah, we had fun, we had whatever, and then they came back and said, well, Vivica said, and so I'll put it like this. Sometimes I can be in character about things, and I don't know that I'm in character. I mean, like coming here today, I had to make an amends to Amy because as I'm walking in, she says, are you going to have a good time today? And I went, no. But I was kidding. And so my dear friend who's watching me right now, he said, you owe her an amends because you snapped at that girl. And I was like, no, I didn't. I didn't. So sometimes it's like I'm the way I am, not because I'm really that way, but I'm in character, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
I got it. I don't need you to say anything else because I got it.
I've got to say something, one thing.
Yeah.
Because our showrunner of Generations.
Creator of Generations,
and creator, right? Sally Sussman, told me to tell you hello.
Hi, Sally.
To say hello, and also to tell you that my dream is that Beyond the Gates becomes such a huge hit that people want to be talking more and more about Generations because of the fact that, in a way, Generations set up
the seed.
Generations.
It was the seed.
Was the seed, and hopefully, Beyond the Gates now will be such a huge success that people will want to talk more about Generations. And Sally has a new reboot of Generations, and Kelly Rutherford and I and Bob Torty want to be involved in it. And there would be other actors as well. But I just wanted to say that right now so you can go on and ask me other questions.
Okay, hi to Sally, and thanks for all that. So I know that Sally was the creator of Generations, and if I'm not mistaken, Tony Marina, her husband,
Yes.
who was a producer at Young and Restless for years and
Yes.
years, also was the director of that episode.
Yes, he was. He was.
Did he just
Tony-
sort of like sit back and say, "We'll just follow you guys"?
No. I mean, we really worked very hard at it, and he was.
That's clear.
But the thing with Tony, and Tony's terrific too, and he has a theatrical background, is that he was able to see what we were doing, and he facilitated what we were doing. He didn't come in and then say, well, the angle has to be that way, whatever. I mean, he meticulously watched what we were doing, and then he was able to set up the cameras, multiple cameras, of course, and so they were able to catch everything.
You have to be a good director to be able to follow
he was
along
terrific.
and to like stay.
He's
Yeah.
terrific, Tony.
Did people clap? I mean, it was really good.
I think they were shocked. I
was the first time I saw it.
I know.
More than anything, I think people were shocked.
Including Christoph? St. John.
Yeah,
He was in the scene.
God
bless him.
Rest
God
his soul.
bless him. Yeah, Christoph was, the funny, he might have gotten hurt doing it because when he was trying to break us up, we were so in the heat of the moment that we were still doing whatever, and he was trying to.
Was he involved in any of the
No,
choreography?
and that's why he almost got hurt. Well, Christoph, I'm sorry. But it was like, well, all I have to do is come in and break them up. But the funny thing about this cat fight is, I guess about a year ago, I'm having lunch with some friends in West Hollywood, and all of a sudden I hear, "What do you want?" And I'm like, that sounds familiar. So the cat fight was a ringtone. And so these guys, and their phone, all I'm hearing is, "What?" And I'm like, that's me. So I go over to the table and I said, "That's me." And they were like, "Doreen!"
Oh my God.
How did that feel?
Weird,
Yeah.
weird, but it was amazing, like 25, 30 years later, they
Yeah.
could still recognize it was me. I was feeling happy about that.
Sure, but it's like it's soaps are similar to live theater, right? In that you have days where you're gonna like take big swings, and whether it's a cat fight or an emotional scene, and sometimes you hit a home run, and other times you bunt or you hit a double, and maybe the scene doesn't go where you want. But what's nice about it is that with soaps and with live theater is that the next day there's another performance, and unless it's a moment like this which lives on in infamy. And I wonder, like, when did the second life of this cat fight begin to take on a life of itself? Because I imagine when it aired, maybe it got some press in the soaps, but then came and went because that's what happens on soaps. So when did it become this? When did it become what it is today?
When we went off the air. When we went off the air, the cat fight just, like I said, it took on a life of its own. Like I said, it became a ringtone. And then one day, of course, I'm like scrolling. I'm scrolling through, falling down the rabbit hole of, let's Google me. Let's Google me today. I'm feeling depressed. Let me Google myself. And so you're falling down the rabbit hole, and I'm seeing all of these variations of the cat fight, but it's always two guys doing it. Always. So that's why I wasn't that surprised when I was in the restaurant, in WeHo, and hearing me. It sort of took on a kind of cult camp, life of its own, which to me is like absolutely fabulous, which I love. But the thing about doing a soap opera was Generations was the first daytime soap opera I'd ever done. I had done a nighttime soap on NBC that was very short-lived, from the creators of Dallas and Knots Landing in Falcon's Crest, which was Behringer's, which was also created by a woman. Diana Gould. And in fact, so it was a nighttime soap, but it still had a kind of shooting schedule as a nighttime primetime show. And what I say about Behringer's was my character was the first African-American woman to be a regular on a primetime soap, because Behringer's came on 2.5 years before Diane Carroll came on Dynasty.
Wow.
And but my experience doing daytime, it was, you're from the theater, or you've done prime time or whatever, and it's like, okay, you're going to do daytime. And baby, after doing that, my respect, my adoration, and absolutely just for people who do daytime, have sustained careers in daytime, I mean to tell you, it was absolutely an amazing experience, and also so close to doing theater.
Yeah.
It really
It
is.
is.
But for me, I became like I call it a line learning savant, because, we would do our rehearsals and they would have the, cue cards up, and I was like, I'm not going to look at the cue cards. And in fact, it became a joke that the guy who was doing my cue cards would have Doreen and then nothing would be there. and I just, in one episode, I had 40 pages of dialogue. I had 40 pages because Doreen was depressed about something, and she's going through the penthouse in the sky on the south side of Chicago, which was the west side of Burbank. And so she's going through being depressed and, taking pills, which were sugar pills, which was a whole other different story after the scene was shot. Because Smokey Robinson was on that particular episode as well. And I'm rocking around depressed, and Doreen is talking about her life and looking at photographs and taking the pills. And by the end of the day, my hair is like, you said you like this hair, here, it's yours. But it was standing on edge. And Smokey Robinson, who I didn't really know that well, comes into the makeup room, and I see him, and I go, Smokey! And then run and jump in his arms. And he's like, well, they're really friendly on this show, But
You were just hyped up on sugar?
So hyped up on sugar. But I had done 40 pages of dialogue, so I felt
We know.
I deserved that sugar.
Yeah, we know.
You know what?
We do that.
I don't know the last time have you done any other soaps?
No, and if anyone wants to have me
Not
on
yet.
another show.
Not yet, you
Not
haven't.
yet. Not yet.
There's no cue cards anymore. No one has cue cards.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
fine.
Yeah. No, so I'm saying it feels even more like that live theater thing that you were
Well, yeah,
alluding to.
because no cue cards and no teleprompters,
Yeah.
hopefully.
No teleprompters. And also,
Great.
it's funny, I never knew this, and Generations was here, but you were a New York theater actor. But there was even a sort of a hubris amongst the New York soaps, because a lot of the New York soap actors were doing theater at night, the shows during the day, whereas the LA soaps were not.
Yeah, I was on All My Children, and we had so many actors that came in that were on Broadway.
Yeah.
So many, and they were
I had
fantastic.
a dear friend who was involved with All My Children.
Who?
Well, she was a producer, Jackie Babin.
Oh yeah, you've
Jacqueline
mentioned
Babin.
her in interviews.
Yeah.
I didn't work with her. I
Right,
think she
but
was
of course,
before
I
me.
knew a lot of actors who were on the show.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, so yeah, and so in a way, I sort of bridged that gap
Yeah.
because I'm from the New York stage, but I did a soap opera in Los Angeles.
So let's go.
there
Let's
you
go back to New York.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Were you born in New York?
Born and
Yes.
raised.
Whereabouts?
Yes.
Harlem.
Yes, girl.
Before gentrification. I went back to my old neighborhood on
Yeah.
140 I lived on Edgecombe Avenue, Sugar Hill, where life is so sweet. But down the hill and around the corner on Bradhurst is a Starbucks
Oh.
and a Whole Foods. I was like, what? Oh well, like the Jeffersons.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything changes.
I can't. I can't. You're just so amazing. I could just talk. I'm just gonna watch you because you're just.
No, so
you're
okay, so
like,
walk us through
Oh, no.
you basically
Wait,
are
no,
going.
started when you were
Greg
five.
is going to make this
wait.
serious.
Okay,
No, I'm
okay.
not.
Yeah,
Okay,
but you
between the two of us.
You
Okay.
started when you were 5.
Yes.
So you've been doing this so long, and then
Yes,
you worked
only
with Joseph,
20 years.
only 20 years.
Yeah.
You worked with Joseph Papp, who was
Yes,
like a
he was-
legendary.
yes.
Was he producer and director? Was he both?
Well, Joe had director shows, but he had initially Shakespeare in the Park, and then he opened the Public Theater, which is
Public Theater.
amazing now. But the first show to open the Public Theater was the Off Broadway premiere production of Hair,
Which you
and
were in.
I was in it.
Yes.
And so, and it's sort of interesting because it's like you and yeah, but when it moved to Broadway and Tom O'Horgan took over, that's when the nudity and stuff happened. But before it was sort of
Shucks, you didn't get to take your clothes off.
No.
I'm kidding.
although, well, that's another story. But
We have time.
okay, you'll hear it. Anyway, so Joseph Papp started the Public Theater, and I did Hair for, did the show Hair at the Public Theater. And then I remember, because it was a limited run, we opened, and I remember the date, so I don't need cue cards. So I remember the date because fans always come up with it. Fans of the show. I cannot believe that show is like 50 whatever years and still going strong. But we had a limited run. It opened October 17th, 1967, and then closed December. It was a 2-month run. And coming backstage of the public, which was like a communal kind of backstage anyway, is Joe Papp with this man who's wearing like this little tuxedo and little patent leather shoes and so forth and so on. And his name is Michael Butler, and he's going to take the show to Broadway. And we were like, whatever. But I was cast in George M. To do at the Palace, So I was not going to go any further with with Hair because I thought it had run its course. Anyway, but the funny thing with Michael Butler is like a year later or a year and a half later, it opens, Hair opens, and the next time I see him, he's wearing these love beads and he's this whole thing, and and everybody's like, oh, Michael Bear Butler, whatever. But I'm still thinking of the little guy with the patent leather shoes and and he would always, and the last time I saw him, because he recently passed away, last time I saw him, he was like, hi, and I said, well, you'll always be that like dorky guy in the patent leather shoes to me. But where Joe was concerned, so I was doing a show with a wonderful woman, Vinette Carroll, and her Urban Arts Corps, and we did a musical version of Irwin Shaw's Bury the Dead. And so in a part of the show, we had wonderful dancers or whatever, and so the one of the dancers was like, there's going to be a musical version of Two Gentlemen of Verona, Shakespeare in the Park, and they need kind of fun, blah, blah, kind of people, and I can't get an audition, and it's at the Public Theater. And I said, well, I know Joe Papp. I know Joe Papp. Meanwhile, that weekend, our show opened, and Walter Kerr, who's a wonderful critic, had written a wonderful review about our Bury the Dead and singled me out and gave me a wonderful love letter review. But anyway, so I called Joe Papp, and his secretary, who subsequently became his wife, she's like, oh, congratulations. Hold on. So Joe gets on the phone. He says, congratulations. I said, the reason I'm calling is one of the actors in the show wants to audition for you doing Shakespeare in the Park, a musical, Two Gentlemen, blah, 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 and he can't get an audition. And he said, okay, why don't you come in and audition? And I was like, Well, I'm not really okay, because I had a wonderful acting teacher named David LeGrand, and David was so wonderful with teaching Americans how to do Shakespeare and not trying to sound like British people. And so I thought, okay, I've been working on a monologue in class, and so I can just come in and do the monologue in class from class. And so I came in, and the actor who was in the show with me came with me. Didn't work out so well for him, but the next thing I hear, I get a call, because I'm on these shows and I'm still living at home. I never wanted to leave. Yeah. Anyway, so
Oh, it's okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, it'll.
Hello, is it me you're looking for? Anyway, so I hear my mother. My mother's on the phone, and she's saying, "No, that my character's in Two Gentlemen was Sylvia, as in, who is Sylvia? What is she that all our swains commend her?" And so she said, I hear my mother saying, "No, there is no Sylvia living here." And so just hold on. It's Joe Papp, and he keeps calling you Sylvia. Joe, he says, "Yeah, you're going to be Sylvia." So we did the show in Central Park, and then it became such a big hit. And my leading men were Raul Julia and Clifton Davis.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Exactly. So that's why, to me, Beyond the Gates with me is it's
reverberation.
It really is. And so Clifton, we went to, we were a big hit, but in the Central Park. And so there was a woman who really bankrolled Joe's shows. Or you see her name comes up on PBS's, her foundation or whatever, Luester Mertz, Mrs. Mertz. And we were invited to come to Mrs. Mertz's house on Sutton Place. And they, Joe made the announcement, "You guys are going to go to Broadway." And Mrs. Mertz just bankrolled that. So he learned from Hare, because somebody else came in and, took it over. But that was his. Two Gents was like the first Broadway production of the public theater.
Wow.
Which started the whole, and Two Gentlemen begat so many shows, but Hamilton, of course, is like a direct kind of correlation.
Did you the acting teacher you were working with, who you did the Shakespeare monologue with, did he help you through the preparation for Two Gentlemen?
Oh yeah, well David LeGrand, who was, he remained my acting teacher. He was in New York, and then he moved out to California. And I was with him until the day he died. Wow. So for many, many years. And I got to him through Bernadette Peters, who was like my bestie.
She was my old neighbor in New York.
Yeah, my bestie. In fact, we just reconnected again. Oh, I'm going to cry. No, I'm not.
We have tissues if you do.
I know, but I'm not.
I love Bernadette.
Yeah. She and I were just like besties. And we were in George M together. And she studied with David. And as a child actor, because she was a child actor too. So as a child actor, you learn how to be. In fact, David would call us, before Stephen Sondheim wrote the song, Broadway babies, because she'd be coming in tapping from Queens, and I was tapping from Harlem, and he was like, "We got to deal with this. We got to come back, kids," And so I got to him through Bernadette, and so David.
We got you.
It's okay.
Yeah. No, David is very important, and I still hear his voice, of course, because my dear friend Eddie Singletary, who started studying with David, and he coaches now, and I still work with I work with Eddie as well, and Eddie's out here So David's still in my ear, in my head, and in my soul.
You reconnected with Bernadette, and you also became friends with Carol Channing towards the end of her life. And how did you make these like reconnections and these connections with?
Well, with Bern, because that's what we call her, but with Bern, it was through a very interesting kind of funny guy named Brantley Barden. And when she was coming out to do what they just did at the Amundsen, the Sondheim,
Oh yes,
best friends or
yes,
old
yes,
friends
yes,
or
she
whatever.
Did that.
And so he had gotten tickets, and he was like, "I'd really, would you like to?" And I was like, we sort of kept in contact, but not really seeing each other, because not too long ago was the 50th anniversary of George M. And I wasn't able to get to New York for it, but we were talking about hi or whatever, but we weren't able to actually be in the same space with each other and exchange whatever. And so he had gotten the tickets, and I went to see the show, and then afterwards I went backstage, and we just, because she looks amazing, and we're just sort of looking at each other and smile. When you've been close to someone, and especially in those formative years, and there's so much history that you don't even know where to pick it up. You just don't. And you're saying like silly things like discotheque, or sweet potato pie. No, ricotta cake, because her mother Marge made the best ricotta cake in the world, and my grandmother made the best sweet potato pie, and Bernadette loved my grandmother's sweet potato pie, and I loved her mother's ricotta cake. Her mom made great escarole, and my grandma made great collard greens. So Bernadette liked the collard greens, I liked the escarole. So at some point we're just like saying food to each other.
The menu.
When you do have that shared history when you're younger, there's something you don't have to say to that
Well, it doesn't
person.
go away.
It just
even if the time has
it's
passed.
there, and
the intimacy's there.
It's so rich because you don't have that with others.
But also, as young actors, we would study people. We would watch them. We'd go to, we'd go to Joe Allen's. Joe Allen would let us sit at his table, which was a big deal. But we'd go and we'd watch people, and we'd study their behavior. And when we were doing George M. on 47th Street, where the Palace was, there would be other ladies who were working in the evening, but not on stage. And
they were working in the night.
They would, yes.
Ladies of the night.
Ladies of the night, what magic they bring. And so, oh no, that's Dracula. And no, that's Children of the Night. Anyway, and so,
we're back.
So anyway, Bernadette and I would we would meet early before going to the show, and we'd walk along, and there was one or two ladies who we would talk to all the time, and we'd watch their behavior and things that they would do and all of that stuff. And Bern would say, did you see how she, I said, yeah, did you see how she moved? And one particular night we came in, none of the ladies were there. And we were like, what's going on? There's no ladies of the night running around. And we saw one lady, she was running by, and we're like, where are you going? She said, I don't know who's coming to see your show tonight, but we were told we had to go 10 blocks away. It turned out Richard Nixon came.
Wow.
Yeah, he was there. Anyway, so the ladies of the night had to scatter. But also things like if we were sick, if we had the cold or flu or something, and we'd be like, Yeah, no, we don't want to take medicine because we want to know what it was like.
Oh, wow.
What did it
Oh
feel
my
like?
God.
What
Have
did
you
it
ever
feel like?
wanted that?
No.
No.
Give me the drugs.
Give me the
Give me the
drugs.
drugs.
Yeah.
Well, no, I've been sober 37 years, so no.
Okay.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Not saying
I
didn't.
mean, like the
However,
NyQuil. Give me the NyQuil is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations. That's a
Yeah.
that's a long time.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah.
So
What are we talking about?
You're talking about
my
you.
God.
So,
Oh, yes.
But as a New York girl, born and bred, what was it like moving to California?
Well, initially, because I was under contract at NBC Network, and I would come out to do a project, and first of all, I had to learn how to drive, but I learned how to drive in New York, and so that's all I'll say. But so learning how to drive. But still, I would come out here, do a project, and then immediately go back to New York. I mean, I just couldn't. But then I came out, and then one time I met someone and I married them, and it would have been awkward to go back each month, although I should have.
How long did that last?
Well, that one lasted maybe 13 years, and the second one lasted 13 minutes, and the last one lasted for quite a while. Although 5 years ago yesterday, he had been killed in a traffic accident.
I'm
so
sorry.
I'm really sorry.
so he was, that happened. But yeah, no, but the thing is, the first husband and the last husband were both British, and so I felt I needed a 12-step program having to do with marrying British people.
Well, the last one worked out.
Yeah.
Oh,
except
yes,
for
it
that
did.
he
Yes,
passed.
it did.
Actually, speaking of which, didn't you had a guest spot on 911,
Yes.
and you kind of got to have work through some of that grief
Yes,
that you had
yes.
from
Yes.
the loss of your husband.
And my mom, because my husband passed away on the 30th of November, 2020, and then a few months later, I brought my mom out from New York, and she went into hospice care in my home, and she passed away in August of 2021. So it was sort of like, but what it did is that it makes you know that tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised, because it was like, not a joke, but with my husband, because he was 17 years younger. Yes, I'm a cougar, and I'm proud of it. And so he was, and I would like laugh and say to him, "Well, darling, when I'm dribbling in a corner, will you be wiping the dribble?" And him and his British kind of, "Yes, darling, I will be wiping the dribble from your chin." And so that became like a fun kind of thing. Little did I know, or would have even expected, what evolved. And so the thing is that tomorrow is not promised. Right. So one has to stay in the present, and that's why the present is a gift.
Yes. Be here now. It's one of my favorite expressions.
Yeah.
Do you? You teach, or you have taught? I guess you're
Yes.
not teaching currently, but what was did you pass those things along to your students? And what was the one?
Oh, yes.
What were a couple of the things that you passed along to students? I'm assuming you taught acting.
No, biology.
No.
Well, I didn't know she was in the theater. I didn't know if she was like, if it could have been like,
Yes, no,
dancing,
Political
singing.
science?
Rebecca, you're absolutely.
I mean, you're a singer. You're a singer, for God's sake.
Well,
You
yeah,
could be
well,
teaching singing.
Well, musical theater.
Yeah.
Musical theater, which to me, a music,
a lot of hate for that.
a song is just a monologue with notes. So yes,
Yeah.
it was acting, it was musical theater, la 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 la, all of that together. But one of the things I always tell them is if you're on time, you're late. And also,
I agree with that.
And also, passing the things along that David said, and also things that I learned from Vinette Carroll. And if you don't know who that is, Google. And so, one of the things I was is dare to suck. Walking on eggshells is just absolutely boring. Just go for it. Just go for it. Be brilliantly wrong as opposed to timidly safe.
Yeah, swing big. But how much, and having been on both sides, right, being a professional actor and also a teacher, how much for you, for your process, do you think is instinct, and how much do you think it is because you are clearly gifted? I imagine you came into this world this way, but how much of that is what you think is just a natural gift that you possess versus what you have learned along the way?
Well, the thing is that hopefully when you're teaching, because sometimes you're the teacher and they're the student, and sometimes they're the teacher and you're the student. Yeah. So it's a learning. The whole thing is a learning process. But the thing that I loved is what David would say, and I absolutely agree with that. Is kids are absolutely unfiltered. Yeah. They'll be like, and then it's like, do you want some ice cream? Yeah, I do. And so,
kids and you. Go on.
But what happens sometimes is a kid is going, and the parent or what's saying, calm down, don't do, bum bum bum, gotta get along, do, and then all of a sudden, so sometimes it's really wonderful to get back to that childlike, not childish, but childlike wild abandon. Because, well, the thing is, I can be over the top. Really? Yes. And so, it's sort of like when David would say to me something like, well, go, just a little more whatever, a little more spice, say. And then I'd start, and he said, no, I said spice, not the whole cabinet. Not the whole spice cabinet. But to be able to get to that point where you can not be self-conscious.
Yeah.
And the beauty of an acting class and a safe acting environment, whether it's class or, because I just finished doing a couple of plays, I love that, is to be able to not be watching yourself and not caring that someone is watching you, to go on the journey you want to go on. I think it's like, I think it's sort of death in a way when somebody is trying to make the audience understand. No. You go on the journey you want to go on, and you bring people along as opposed to, and if they don't want to come along, they don't want to come along. But to be doing something for something as opposed to doing something with something within you. And that's fun.
Yeah, I've never heard it that way. I love that.
I want to ask one question. You've been doing this a while.
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen the business change from when you started to now? Especially being a woman of color, right? So just the behind the scenes we were talking about has changed.
Well, the thing is that I've been very fortunate. I really have. I've been able to do this, and to be in front of a camera from the 1960s up to now. I have to say that when I first did an episode of Policewoman with the wonderful Angie Dickinson, and I went to sit in someone's makeup chair, and the first thing he said to me was, he did a particular black actor's makeup for a particular movie, and I'm not going to say the name because, meanwhile, we all laughed because that actor looked terrible in that movie. And so as he's putting on my makeup, he's saying, I didn't. And I'm like, oh. However, there was another makeup artist who did Angie's makeup named Al Fama. And he, after the other man did what he did, Angie took me to Al Fama, and it was wonderful. But also in the 60s, Universal had a apprentice program for makeup artists and hairstylists of color. And so I got to work with people who came through that program. Like on Elizabeth Searcy, on the series that I did, Palmerstown, the first series I did, Palmerstown, we had a black hairstylist on that. And so I have to say, I worked with makeup artists who may not be of color, but knew how to do makeup of people of color. I'm not saying, but I did work with makeup artists and hairstylists of color as well. So sometimes, I'll put it like this. Just recently, people are talking about, women showrunners or why don't, and I feel as if I've been spoiled because other than Palmerstown, which was a joint venture of a series with Norman Lear and Alex Haley, the three television series that I've been, that was, the three others, because I've been a series regular on 4, would love 5,
It's coming.
First, Diana Gould with Behringers. She's, executive producer, writer, and showrunner. Sally Sussman with Generations, executive producer, writer, and showrunner. And then Beth Sullivan with Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, So I feel I've been spoiled because I've worked with wonderful women who are showrunners and executive producers, and I've also worked with wonderful hairstylists and makeup artists of color. So when I'm hearing the same kind of talk about this stuff now, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Also in groundbreaking roles, all of those. But for all of the blessings and good fortune that you have had, we would be remiss to not bring up what happened with Two Gentlemen when it came to the Amundsen.
Yes. Yes, this is true. Because the thing is that in New York, playing this character, and they're calling me a goddess, and there's da-da-da, and all of this kind of stuff. And then we bring it to the Amundsen.
What year was that?
73.
Okay.
And we bring it to the Amundsen, and they're keeping mail from me or whatever, or I don't know. And I'm like, what's are you talking, what's going? And they're getting, these hate mail saying, why do you have this N-word up here as the leading lady, people running around and blah, 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 and da-da-da, this N-word and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, don't keep that from me. To take it back even further, the night of when Martin Luther King was assassinated, we were on stage doing George M. And it happened during our intermission. and it came to us. And in the second act, we, had to go on and do the medley of Your Grand Old Flag and da-da-da-da-da. And people were like, in fact, there was one actor of color in the show who was like, I'm not going on to do that. I'm not. I can't. I can't and all. And I was like, oh, no. I went on and I was singing Your Grand Old Flag and looking at everyone's face like, yes, it's my country. Deal with it. Deal with it. You're upset. I don't care. I don't care. Deal with it. Deal with me. Because to me, prejudice is their problem.
Yes.
It's not mine.
You've
said that racism is a white problem.
It is a white
Well,
problem.
yeah, but I didn't.
It.
Well, I didn't. Toni Morrison, the great writer,
Yes.
said that, and I was like, absolutely. So you have the choice. Are you going to take that on and become victimized by somebody else's illness? Or are you just going to keep doing what you're doing?
Well, you are so strong, and you seem infallible, but is there any space in between where it hurts?
Well, I have to say, of course, I'm an alcoholic. So, of course, it must have. I drank a lot of people, but sometimes it's like a chicken and an egg situation.
Yeah, I get that.
It's a chicken and an egg situation. But the thing is and what I love about of sobriety is and interacting with other people who are sober as well, is that people may not look like you, but emotionally, the same kind of stuff may be going on, may be triggered by other things. I hate the term trigger because I think of Google, Roy Rogers' horse. But you may, something may be a catalyst of something. But the emotions are still the same. I guess what I'm saying is I really haven't got time to figure out things. I only know that I can do the next indicated thing that's in front of me. And maybe I haven't gotten a role because of what I look like or what I don't look like. But I know people who don't get roles who don't look like me either. So the thing is that if you want to build a case, you can build a case. But I don't have time to build a case because if I'm busy being down in the dungeon of building a case, I might want to drink a case.
Right.
And I ain't got time for that.
No. I wish we could spend the next 5 hours with you.
I want to see you on Beyond the Gates. Is that a possibility?
Do you know Michelle? Are you still in touch with Michelle?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have there been conversations?
Not really. Only like 3 years ago, Sally Sussman, Michelle and I went out to lunch, and Michelle was saying that this could be happening. And we were like, yay, so yay. And we're still, whatever.
Okay.
Pass it along.
Yes.
Pass it along and keep talking about generations too and see what happens.
You are
so
absolutely
fun.
delightful. I want to watch you on 10 television shows because you are just special and you should be on TV all the time.
Do you want to know?
Entertaining me and
do you
other
want to
people.
know how I prepared for the cat fight?
Please tell me.
Okay, seriously. First, I put up my right hand. Then I put up my left hand, and then I move around, and then I move around, and then I slap your face, and then I slap your face, and then I move up, and then I move back, and then I kick you. I kick you. That's how you prepare.
You
oh my God.
are
You're amazing.
just incredible.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for
Oh
coming
my
here.
gosh.
Thank you for giving me espresso.
Oh, come back again and again and again and again and again and again. You guys, this has been an incredible episode, and if you've missed any of our previous episodes, you can watch us on the CBS YouTube channel. You can listen to us on the Odyssey app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you may get your podcasts, and we will see you again.
Thank you, Jonelle Allen.
Thank you, Rebecca and Greg, so
you, Jonelle.
much, really.